So, I know I'm a little late, but I wanted to take some time to talk about the brand new Blumhouse horror movie, Sick. Is it bad? Is it good? Let's talk about it. So this movie premiered at Fantastic Fest in September, and I've heard a lot about it. I've been pretty curious about it, but I've also been a little bit hesitant. I'm not someone who likes when movies bring up coronavirus. It's just, I don't know, it kind of breaks the movie for me sometimes, takes me out of the illusion of it. I like escapism, so sometimes when movies bring it up, I'm not really a fan of it. It kind of breaks the immersion. I feel a little bit pulled out for a second. Not only that, but it's also too that this is a thing that kind of just brings out the worst in people. You just get two really ugly extremes from both sides where, you have people that are either really smug and control freaky, or you just have these people that counter react and then they get extremely emotional about it and then they don't listen to anybody and they can be selfish. So you kind of have a tough balance to meet here. You don't want to appear too biased on one side or the other. It's also a sensitive topic, obviously, because, like a lot of people, did die from this in real life. So I was just very resonant about this movie. I was worried that it wouldn't come out good or that it would come out preachy in some way, but I'm happy to say that they handled those elements of the movie pretty well. I feel like if this wasn't Kevin Williamson, was an inferior writer, it would kind of go in a predictable way and it would be pretty obvious where the writer's coming from. But Kevin Williamson is an extremely clever writer. He's always at the top of his game, and although I don't think this is nearly his best movie, I think it's done very well. And with that, you can really tell that it's written by him. It follows a lot of kind of trademark Williamson-isms. I mean, that's not really a word, but you know what I mean. It kind of follows a little bit of a Scream-type template. It reminds me a lot of it. You get a lot of those chase sequences and stuff. And you also have the mystery of what's actually going on here. Most of this movie kind of relies a little bit on the payoff because you're not exactly sure how Corona factors into the story or the killer or what's going on. It's not to the detriment of the movie, but because of it, there's only so many ways that the ending really could go. So I didn't necessarily find it predictable, but I kind of did find myself foreseeing the ending a little bit. But I gotta say that the coronavirus aspect of it is actually what makes this such a unique movie. It really plays the pandemic era to its strength, where it could have been hugely to its detriment. It kind of uses a lot of those things that were very familiar to us a couple of years ago and effectively uses it to create tension and suspense. So once you get that aspect behind you, the one that could have totally killed this movie actually ended up being its strength and what honestly made this movie more unique. Because it does take a basic approach to the slasher genre, but it uses this era and kind of these social things that we were doing at the time and almost uses them as plot devices to kind of make the story work better. So it gives you that feeling. The movie just effectively taps kind of into the anxiety that was going on at the time and uses it to just reinforce the story. Especially too, the characters could have been so annoying, and I feared that they would be annoying. I was worried that they'd be more stereotypical, but they actually ended up being pretty decently written, and you get that kind of tinge of a little bit of the both sides thing, but they really don't play either side overhandedly as correct or incorrect. They kind of show that both the selfishness of completely rejecting everything and then the pompousness of blindly accepting everything, they kind of show the destructive ends of both. Kind of towards the mixed side, I wish that they, gave a little bit more of a uniqueness though to the design of the killer. It's kind of just a, black hoodie, black beanie stuff. I don't know. I wish that there was something a little bit more unique, especially because of like COVID and stuff. I think that they could have done more with it. Like maybe give him a pharmaceutical mask or, I don't know. It's just kind of stereotypical slasher, like killer, just black sweatsuit and a mask. So nothing real special there. It also does kind of lose its premise along the way throughout the middle-ish. It doesn't meander, but it just kind of loses its focus a tad bit. And it does come all back together in the end. But obviously because, you just have these people in a house with a killer, you can kind of forget the point of the movie sometimes. But other than that, this is a very serviceable movie. I don't think it's the best movie, but as far as horror movies go, we have two at very decent horror movies in January, which is a huge surprise, especially from Blumhouse. And this movie, which tackles some pretty political subjects, could have gone horribly, could have been out of touch, or it could have just been had a kind of a weird assessment of things. You never really know what you're going to get with Hollywood, so it's nice to know that this movie had a level head about it. Other than that, it was just very neatly paced, about 80 minutes, very quick. Nice pace, tight runtime. Also, the gore was very good, pretty gnarly, which I enjoyed, and also pretty practical. Overall, I definitely recommend checking it out. You know, it's on Peacock, so, you know, you could just stream it for free. As far as streaming movies go, it's definitely on the upper end. I'm not a big fan of streaming movies. I definitely recommend you check it out. Not too much to say about it. Probably not going to make my top 10 of the year or anything, but it was very enjoyable. And especially for horror fans, I definitely recommend checking it out. Have you seen Sick? What do you think of it? Let me know down in the comments. Have a good one.